maybe unpack the scenario that would need to happen for Magnus Carlsen to also have 2024 Norway Chess wrapped up before tomorrow. I think it's safe to say we're not rooting for that. Not that anyone is rooting against Magnus, but I will be open that maybe today we're rooting against Magnus a little bit. I'm not really looking for a tomorrow where Magnus already has a clinch. Just me.
We want to see more fun. We want to see it go down to the last Armageddon of the tournament. That feels like it will be in the spirit of Norway.
Prague is...
They have so much chocolate, like so much. But also fruits and wraps and nuts, all sorts of snacks, refreshments. And they have a screen there where they can see their game, so they know if it's their turn or can they just chill there on the armchairs. Very cozy space.
That makes it interesting that Magnus burned 15 minutes on day one just in the back room eating pizza. He was checking out his own game on the screen.
Behind the scenes prep that you and Magnus had there.
Yeah, we also have to fulfill a promise to Anna to go to this game next, so that's perfect, Danny.
So everyone's happy. Anna's happy with the Italian, and I'm happy to get this story out there.
Yeah, so this is the current game position, and let's just rewind to the beginning of the Italian game. Not too much drama yet on the board, but some behind the scenes here in this position. White playing the move Bishop G5 is maybe the most ambitious way to play the Italian these days. You can play it on this move, you can play it within the next 2-3 moves.
Which shows that Firouzja was playing for a win here. This is the most ambitious way for Firouzja to play.
100%, Danny. It's the most provocative, at least, because here, after the move H6, you're basically asking Black to come at you. You're saying, come at me, bro, G5, start pushing your pawns. And actually, a few moves down the line, it's a bit of a crossroads in this position. I played at the World Cup last year. Unfortunately, I didn't get that far, but I was playing against one opponent who often played the Italian, Ante Brkic, very strong Croatian grandmaster, and I was a bit scared that he would kind of test me like this, that he'd put a bishop on this diagonal as early as possible, because in my games it's quite visible that I really don't enjoy the positions after the most principled move, G5. And G5, this often leads to chaos, Black pushing pawns on the king side towards the White king, but Black's king in a bit of limbo here. Often the center explodes and it just becomes totally wild theory for 25 moves. So I was having dinner with Magnus and I was like, oh, dude, how do I handle this? Do I even play 1e5 if I know I'm going to get some craziness? I would just want something solid. And Magnus was like, if you want to be solid, just play queen e7, b4, or a4, I think they're similar. And then you just play bishop e6. You try to trade off the bishops, you put your queen on e6, get out of the pin. He was like, it's just a position, you'll be fine, you'll survive. So clearly this is Magnus trying to be solid. We have Alireza trying to provoke Magnus, Magnus saying no, I'm just gonna do my thing, I'm just gonna play normal chess. And okay, a4's appeared on the board. I think Magnus will castle, maybe he'll trade off bishops and go for what he suggested, queen e6. This was just one lunch, or one dinner. We didn't go into too much detail, but that's sometimes how the top players think. They have 2 or 3 weapons depending on their mood.
And Magnus's mood is clearly solid for today. That is a lot of information. David, thank you for spilling the beans.
That was great. No, it was an awesome story. And Magnus taking his own advice that he gave his friend, hey, if you don't want the craziness, you don't want to fight for your life in these very, very sharp variations, as you said, with 25 moves of prep, just play queen e7 and bishop e6. So Magnus is like, I'm not interested in 25 moves of prep and whatever novelty Alireza Firouzja might have brought to the table. I'm going to play something super solid, protect my tournament lead. He is a full point up on Hikaru Nakamura, who's in second place. If you missed our standings breakdown at the top of the show, of course, you can go to chess.com/events and get all the information you need, not just on Norway Chess, but all top chess events in the world as a pro tip, FYI, for anyone tuning in. But there you go. Magnus in a solid mood.
Solid mood, protecting his first place, but Hikaru may not be in a solid mood and might want to leapfrog Magnus. We will see if the solid approach will pay off or not. Sorry, David, for cutting you off.
No, you weren't cutting me off. I was just chuckling away. Sorry, in the corner here, Anna.
Oh.
That featured chat.
bunch of pawns on the board. Alireza played d5, trying to open up the 6th rank for the rook on b6 to hit the d6 pawn as well. But Magnus got to be thinking about a move like knight f4 here, David. Just leave the tension and try to create some trickiness over there on the white king side.
Yeah, Magnus, he definitely wants to be ambitious, but a bit of a grimace when he took that pawn.
Yeah, and it was a grimace before that too, where maybe he wanted to play a move like I was saying, but he kind of was like, I don't think I can get away with it, so maybe I just need to trade and let this one peter out, because I think it will. I think a4 is going to fall, and I think the other pawns are going to go with it, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. We might be headed to Armageddon, folks. Buckle up.
That would be a huge save for Firouzja in terms of what happened earlier with his time management when he spent an hour on his rook move. An hour spent on a rook retreat, and we thought he was gonna get punished for it, but luckily for him, he did calculate within that 60 minutes spent on the rook move how to simplify the position, and that was key. It was key that he went for a forcing line where even though Magnus would like to keep the position more complex, he would like it to be more, have more life in it and more imbalance in it, he cannot quite keep the pieces on the board when white is forcing so many trades. He has to enter these lines to not be down on material.
Yeah.
Still agreed to population us.
Still got to be slightly careful, but ultimately I think he will save this game. It's just a choice of which pawn to capture. But yeah, the clock is the only thing. Magnus is pretty decent at hustling players when they're low on time, and he's about to make a move. Indecision. I think a good choice though to try and force the draw as quickly as possible to not take any risk.
That's kind of what I was saying when I pulled us over here. After seeing d5, I thought that Firouzja, just recognizing he's not going to try to play a middle game for an advantage. Because remember, I mean, even though we criticized his time management, rightfully so, the position was still okay for him. The problem was he just took so long to play a move he should have played. But there were other ways to play the position for Firouzja other than d5. So when I saw it, I'm thinking, okay, maybe the smart decision, as Anna said, would be a good hold, get to Armageddon. But that doesn't mean Magnus is going to let it happen easily, right? Magnus already won an endgame against Firouzja in this tournament that he had no business winning, straight up. He pushed and pushed, and it was a drawn rook ending. He tricked Alireza in the final seconds, and Alireza traded into a lost king and punt ending. If you missed it, check out coverage around 5.
That was also in classical.
And that was in classical, but all right, maybe while you check out that coverage in round 5, actually you're not going to do that. You're going to sit tight.
I didn't recover it, so it's quite tired, but I can say Vaishali is such a player. She is quite energetic, and I think she's now is a promoting star, and I can see she actually is quite resourceful, and especially she has a brother like Prague. I think everyone will be